Good morning, welcome back to Morning at NTV, and this is the Solutions segment. And today the great discussion is around management of SACCOs. SACCOs in Uganda. Just the other day we were seeing a proposal by the parliament to tax, SACCOs across the country on the income tax that they get, net at that. And so the proposal was 30% of the income tax, income they get, then would be taxed. And so we saw SACCOs moving to reject this kind of proposal, and they got what they wanted. We hope we get the same when it comes to mobile money taxation and social media taxation. So in studio to talk about that and much more is the chairperson, Technical Advocacy Committee, Uganda Cooperative Savings and Cooperative Union, Mr. Achineza Augustine, who is also an advocate. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Also with us is Mr. Kato Isa, who is the National Coordinator of the Uganda Poor Youth Movement. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Let's start with the rave and the craze in the country currently. Mobile money taxation, social media taxation. Will we see this affecting the operations of SACCOs in Uganda, so to speak? We can start with you, sir.
Well, you see, when you look at the mobile money tax, the social media tax, I remember the SACCO where you belong, which is for American Embassy staff. They have been sending money to members who have borrowed but on a distance. So there is an emergency loan you have got, and they are sending it via mobile money.
Right.
So you want 2 million as an emergency, you are losing 1%, and also the send is losing another 1%. You are withdrawing it at 1%. At the end of the day, a problem of 2 million is short by around 25,000.
Right.
So are you going to solve it?
No.
Are you encouraging service delivery? So whereas we might have succeeded in other areas, there is a challenge. Some of the principles of taxation are not being looked at. Is it about getting the money and stifle production and service delivery, or you are collecting as early as possible and remove it later?
Right.
That's a question for the policymakers.
Right. Mr. Issa, your take on this?
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank them for realizing the first mistake of taxing a deposit.
Right.
That one, it kills the morale of anyone trying to deposit money, because that one can become accountable. If the money is deposited, you can actually look for it. But if someone refuses to deposit, fearing that tax, how are you going to follow up? How are you going to know? How are you going to know the money within the population?
Yes.
Secondly, when you look at the current wave of insecurity, people are going to start moving with the monies. We have actually been running away from moving with money, and you have a phone.
Right.
When you have your phone with some money or millions of money, you can easily distribute it amongst all your suppliers. You don't need to move with cash. People are on buses with 5 million on phone. Now they are going to be on buses with 5 million. And imagine how many people with millions in a bus.
Exactly.
This kind of insecurities that we have these days, it is going to be worse.
It's going to be worse.
Yes.
So we truly hope that the government hears that particular cry of everyone, every Ugandan right now. And so there's also a proposal that was, put in by the members of parliament to tax SACCOs on the income, the profits that they get. And this was at 30%. But you managed to get that off, and so you rejected it. You managed to accumulate signatures from all these members of the different SACCOs across Uganda, and the proposal was put down. So now you are enjoying the 10-year kind of tax waiver that was promised by the President Yoweri Museveni way back in 2017. What did you do right? How did you manage to achieve this? I think the viewers would want to know, so we can also do the same thing to, reject and stand up against mobile money and social media taxation and many other taxations that have been affected so far.
The power of the cooperative societies is in numbers.
Right.
And those who have followed the dynamics of this country, numbers always work. The first thing is, before you become a SACCO, you must have a minimum of 30 human beings, 18 and above. It is the 18 and above human beings who come together and register a SACCO. Actually, the issue of tax came as a surprise. And I can say it is not yet Uhuru, because the same person who brought this idea to exempt SACCOs appears to be the same person who wanted to tax them. Had they spent even a year after giving them 10 years exemption. So even up to now, whereas we managed to say it through, I am not sure that we will take that time. We have to work so hard.
Yes.
So what did we do? When we were discussing regulations that were being brought by Bank of Uganda to start licensing SACCOs of 500 million shares and 1.5 savings, a whisper came and said, do you know what? The new amendment is repealing the exemption. If you don't wake up, trouble. Said, how? Just had we spent a year. The committee that was discussing regulations was diverted to discuss how to move the government and remove this intended amendment. Of course, partly in panic, partly to strategically, we met whoever we thought has power to stop this business.
Who did you meet?
We engaged ourselves, we engaged Parliament. Fortunately, I would say, even the parliamentarians have
SACCOs.
a SACCO. So we had the board chairperson of the parliamentarian SACCO, and her CEO were part of the advocacy committee. We also had to meet the Minister of State for Finance, Mr. Bahati. We really tried to meet whoever we knew could make a statement that would save SACCOs. And it is the same thing, see, when you look at the tax we are talking about of social media and what, did the network providers provide a buffer for the customers? Because are we feeding the tax as a group or as individuals?
Right.
So when SACCOs realized that this is coming against us, not I, we stood together collectively and engaged everybody we thought could make a way forward. We even petitioned Parliament before, even after meeting the committee. Fortunately, they also saw how would you change a policy of 10 years before it has spent even 1 year.
Yes.
No, what have you seen that SACCOs which were allowed an exemption for development, for financial inclusion, in 8 months, you are thinking, is financial inclusion a fortnight that now after 12 months, every Ugandan is banking with a SACCO?
Yes.
That's what we're asking them. And we said, well, we pay with holding tax on dividends, we pay with holding tax on the interest on earnings, and all of this is tax. And you see, like in every business, it's not how you kill a fortune, but the many times you sell is what sustains a business.
It's true.
That's why you see, when you look at network providers, airtime is at a cost of 30 per minute. If I pay my 1,000, I have 30 minutes. But this man is surviving and is the big taxpayer.
Right.
Because of knowing whom to deal with and how to do it.
Mr. Isa, you are the national coordinator for this particular youth movement.
Yes.
Have you seen the same challenges being faced among SACCOs that are spearheaded by the youth? When this proposal was up and running, what reactions are you getting from the youth who are just, so to speak, trying to start out to get, financial independence, get means of getting, financing for their small businesses at a cheaper rate through the SACCOs? How did they react to this?
Well, thank you. Well, we are a bit worried if government comes out and says that in the Vision 2040, they are there to, one of the principal objectives is to eradicate poverty.
Right.
And now, amongst us, the youth, we lack what we call collateral or security if you want to go into these bigger financial institutions like banks. So basically members come up with an idea of collecting yourselves, like my brother said, in a group of 30, you register a SACCO. When you register that SACCO, you get the money amongst members, and it is that money that can help you to reduce the risk as an individual.
Right.
So you can actually go and get more money from outsiders if you can manage this one internally, and then you can be able to work or to come up with projects that are going to help you eradicate poverty. So if you just come in and on those little savings that we are actually trying to learn, even leave alone getting money, but we are even the culture of saving itself is good amongst the youth. So if you come in and you tell us that even with those savings, even with those ideas of acquiring even more money to inject in projects, then we shall lose it. We shall lose it. People will not be able to join such groups where they are going to be taxed. So we need them we thank them for repealing that that we call it draconian law, because it is going to kill that vision.
Yes.
That vision needs to go back to where it came from, where they were saying it is a rural integrated system. These are some of the mechanisms to support such goals.
Yes.
Yes.
We do appreciate the fact that we have SACCOs that run across the country, both in the urban centers and in the rural centers. And out of the, SACCOs that we have, around 700 SACCOs right now?
Yeah.
They're more than that. Half
8,000.
of them are struggling, so to speak. What are some of these factors that make SACCOs struggle? Fine, already the issue of taxation is off the risk factors. What other risk factors do SACCOs face when it comes to operations and them just sustaining themselves in the long run for them to survive and be, operational and be beneficial to the members, so to speak, sir?
You see, a SACCO survives on the economic activities of its members. If members are not income generating, then there is no savings.
Right.
The blood of a SACCO is savings. It's not anything else. If people are not engaged in income generating activities, then there will be nothing to save, there is nothing to borrow. So, without going to the other things, if we cannot make Ugandans be in productive activities,
yes,
to earn a living and save something for the rainy day, and also get capital from collectively saved money, there will be no SACCO that will not be struggling. That's why you see it's only institutional SACCOs today, because they are salaried people,
right,
engaged and involved in it, that are more sustainable. Community SACCOs where people engage in agriculture, the agriculture that is not given that much hype to be a business model that can make Ugandans earn a living at the same time save.
right.
SACCOs won't be sustainable. Then there is a challenge of which is inherent. SACCOs are member-driven organizations. Now, let's take an example of my people from Kisoro. My village alone. How many people are trained in managing accounts?
Very few.
Okay? But they have their SACCO, and they are supposed to manage it themselves.
And that's a great point, and we'll get back to that. We have Andrew Chamagero, who is on ground, and he has questions for the two of you. Andrew Chamagero, if you can hear me.
Yes, Mala, I can hear you, and I'm honored to have the two in the studios. I'm still at Nakim Textiles, a SACCO-oriented kind of a business.
Ekibuzo ekyange kigamba nti ffe nga abavubuka in most cases ojja kwesanga nti tumala ebbanga ddene nnyo nga tuli mu system ya education eno kati ng'emyaka 7 omuntu gy'amala nga ava mu primary ajja amaleko primary omale emyaka emyala 4 ng'osoma senior 4 omale emyaka emyala 2 ate omale ogende ku university togenda okwesanga nti omuvubuka agenda okumala university ngali myaka 2 nga mwina naye nga talinako practical skill gyasobola kukola ki ku apply nga so nga nti sente azikola ki azeetaaga kati wajja bwe bakaminga up nga we bamaze university yawe noga tuteekewo SACCO kuba bawuddeyo sente z'abavubuka zijja kiri beetaagisa okubeera nti no bafuna ziri sente naye nga tebalina skill gye bagenda kukola ki ku apply nga kyekireetera embeera nti no abantu tujja ne tufuna sente naye nga tulina kitugenda kukola ki osooka nti ekibuuzo kyange ne kibeera nti senga gavumenti esobola okubeera nti eteekawo practical skills bino emyaka 7 gino gye tumala waaki ne babeera nti basalako emyaka egimu ne gibeera nga giri practical naye no waggulu ne bateekako kwegibeera practical ne tubeera kubeera mu fiyola ekayekayeka kiyinza okubeera nti no kiyambako nti omuntu agenda okuvaayo wedde amanyi kyagenda okuapplyinga sente zino ezinajja mu SACCO ajja kubeera nti ziri applicable ng'asobola okubeera nga azikola ki abaako ne wazi.
All right, ekyo kyekibuuzo sembayo wano.
Yes, thank you. My name is Mutesa Brownpo, ne mukulembeze w'abavubuka mu Wakiso district.
Mwe abavubuka mwe abakulembeze mwe bagambye mwe musinga okugaana okuyamba aba SACCO wano.
Bwe kibeerawo bakyogera buli omu ayogera mu ngeri gy'ayogadde naye nze ekibuuzo ekyange kyembuuza ku SACCOs. Tukola SACCOs ng'abavubuka nga tuluubirira okwekulaakulanya ne tubeerawo omwaka gumu oba ebiri. Kati tuwulira waliwo sente eziweebwa mu microfinance support centers nga zisupportinga SACCOs. Ekibuuzo kyange njagala kumanya how can I access that money? Nzizaayo ntya era percentage eri okubanga tubonaabona ne tugenda mu mabanka abavubuka baffe ne bagenda mu banka ne bafuna sente ezo amagobanga mangi so bwe zibanga sente zino gye ziri ziyamba abantu abalina bye batandiseewo nga tuzze ng'abavubuka nga tulina common bond tuli bavubuka tukola ngoye tuli bavubuka tuli balimi tukoze tutya okufuna sente ezo.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Isa and the gentleman in the studio, I'm sure you can actually answer these questions.
Right. Your take on this?
Well, for the last 4 years, I've been engaged in the SACCO business as a legal practitioner and at the same time a manager, a member and the like. In around 2 years ago, our SACCO wanted to borrow money. The first thing is, how are your accounts?
Okay.
You are registered, because for you to become a SACCO automatically it's a must. You must be having a certificate of registration as a SACCO when you fulfill the requirements. But the first thing, how are your accounts? So that when you go to the microfinance support center, you are borrowing, but at a cheaper
rate,
affordable rate. No, there is no cheaper rate. It is affordable rate.
Right.
They will want to know how are your books of accounts? Are you able to collect this money and pay it back? So, the youth groups or the SACCOs of the youth, those who want to get more money and put in their projects. One, how do you organize your books? Are they professionally kept? So that when the team comes to inspect and see your capacity, they can do it. They can see that you are worth it to get their money.
Right.
The ones who are saying that, you see, we go to school and all of that thing. I remember not so long ago when we were in our secondary school, even in primary, schools had school gardens where children could be taken to see how crops germinate, they grow, they dry up because of no water. You are doing all of this. Today's school environment is a story breeding in the middle of Kansanga. So where do these people run things that would sustain them even out of school? When I went to my O level, there was woodwork, fine art, agriculture, others who had the schools of home economics were there, where people could run hands-on activities. So that even if you don't proceed to A level, I know my friends who were so passionate about woodwork, they crossed without going to technical school.
Right.
They are making good chairs. So it's not about the education. The challenge is where we are coming from and where we are going is people have cherished understanding these theoretical issues. But there are those who have passion of practical skills. They would have got them in school, but the environment that we have decided to go for is for just running through.
It does not embrace practical
There is
skills.
nobody
Right.
minds where you are going. People, someone finishes school, he cannot plant beans in their own garden because they
Mr.
don't know.
Isa, you work a lot with the youth. Is it the same thing that you observe when you're with this particular group of people? Are they, are most of them employed, or they're SMEs, or they're into, you know, skill generating activities like tailoring, like he says, woodwork, steelwork, and such activities, so to speak?
Well, we have people from all dimensions. We have the educated, you have the semi-educated, you have those with practical skills, and as one of the gentlemen asked, that they were asked to formulate groups. One of my key problems with this issue has been the political interference into these matters. First of all, they join groups of people with no background. Like the gentleman, Mr. Akineza, has said, that people need to have kept the books of records properly.
Right. Yes.
But you find that where there is political interference, we find manipulations. People have those books cooked. They are joined in a group in 2 weeks. They do not have a common agenda. They are telling them, you join groups, and then we are going to give you chicks. We are going to give you money for woodwork, when actually only 3 of them have the skills. So there is no way you are going to join such people to collectively work towards a certain goal,
Right.
because from the beginning they are not together.
So essentially, you're saying the embezzlement of funds in most of the SACCOs is as a result of political interference, and not as a result of the people who are managing the SACCOs, you know, being unscrupulous and stealing this money.
Yes, that one is no doubt. You can remember last year the president was moving around giving money. He gave money in Molago, those people who are washing cars. He gave in Zambia. He came to town here in the city center. He was giving out money. But when you ask them up to now, that money has no accountability. It is taken away by the leaders. We have other bigger, even SACCOs, like the Naleka. I don't know if it is a member there. This one's for the former MPs, NRM.
We did not see that.
We had, you see those ones. The president injected there 3 billion.
Yes.
They bought buses. They were applying on the Kampala-Moroto road, and I think the managers of the whole circle took about 250 million, shared it amongst themselves, and then it reached a point where members would stop a bus on the road and ask for money. And so the whole thing collapsed.
Right.
But from the inception, you find that leaders were not there for any purpose. They were just there to get money from the political leaders.
And move away.
So the political interference into these ideas should have been minimal, or it should have actually come in to propel development as they talk about it. Okay. How do you propel it with members who are just looking at just money?
Mr. Augustine, you alluded to the fact that some of the times the major reason as to why some SACCOs do not, qualify for funding from other sources is because they do not keep books of accounts to 100%. And you said training is a major issue. As a union, do you try to visit these particular SACCOs? There are over 700 now as we speak. Do you try to move to this particular SACCOs just to see what structures they have and support them in that regard, so they can allocate duties to the rightful people who have an understanding on how finances, so to speak, accountability accounts, keeping books of accounts, and other factors like that?
Yeah, one of the mandates of UKUSKU is to train SACCOs regularly and even visit them. They have regional offices. But like in a family, you see, when the parent doesn't have the resources,
right,
you don't expect his children to put on shoes of 120,000. The best they can get is Wanavagagawari, if you know them, these plastic shoes. Because that is the capacity the parents have. So like the country is always short of finances, is the same as Kusuku.
So if we
But-
have SACCOs with members who have income generating activities,
Yes.
the story will change.
If they have the savings, like most of the institutional SACCOs you see today, they have employed, trained, and skilled managers.
Right.
Because they have the resources. Two, even these ones which are community SACCOs that have managed to be in an environment where there is economic activity which is sustainable, like Kitugumu SACCO is now so big that is competing with the Wazarendos for space. If, you know, in a society where integrity is no longer virtue, but a commodity
Right.
to hunt for, like he said, politics, if people have formed a SACCO and they are people of integrity, honesty, even in a rudimentary way, they can keep records.
And they can survive.
They will survive
Okay.
in their problems. Of course, with the training from Kusuku once in a while, because of the funding, they will move on and come to the same level.
Okay.
Like Mengo teachers, is not, or they are also competing with the big circles. They are those from Masaka.
Right.
So the child, Kusuku does training, but of course not at the pace it would want to do. Two, Ugandans are always interested in operating outside the normal systems. That's why you see the Nareka is not known.
Yes.
Or it collapsed because at inception, the idea was, let us get something from the big man.
Right.
The way these youth livelihood organizations are formed in a week, they get 20 million, you ask, where do you come from?
Right.
What kind of environment is that? How do you regulate public finance in a Kuyiya business?
Okay.
So we train when the funds are available. At times, the SACCOs that are so committed, where they started with the objective of staying longer, even fund their
Their own,
members to
yes.
come and attend
And
training.
at times
Yeah.
they employ people,
And those who have
accountants.
got the resources
Yes, they are
have also gone ahead
and
to
employed.
employ even the chief executive officers.
Okay. As we come to a close, your last remarks, how can SACCOs ensure that they are sustainable in the long run when they're starting? What objectives should they not miss out on, sir?
Well, I think they should have a common goal. They should have a common goal and stick to that. Then the issue of integrity, as he talked about it, why would you get members' money, their trust and everything, and then you disappear with it? We've seen so many collapse. You know, we had different circles. We have like this rotational, savings,
Right.
and people. This one pays. They collect money. They give it to one member, and then during the course of the rotation, one of them defaults and refuses. But when they have actually acquired, so from the beginning, you are letting others down.
So to ensure that from the beginning they have clear-cut structures. Yes.
And then the strategy, then stick to the goal,
Right.
and move towards that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Your last remarks?
I would say we need to have honest people in this country. Whether you are learned, whether you are not educated, you are semi-skilled, have the virtue of having what belongs to you and leave what belongs to others for others. If SACCOs are built on trying to snatch what is in the state, not to burden themselves for economic liberation and sustainable financial independence, there is no SACCO that will spend even a year on the books of the registration.
Right.
So
Thank
we
you.
need honesty and common objective. You cannot meet people just today, then because you want money, then you form a SACCO and you survive. It will collapse in one day
Yes,
after
sir.
getting the
Yes.
use livelihood.
Yes.
Let them have common strategic objectives, honest and be integral person who are always following a standard and a procedure agreed upon by all of them.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on the show. That was quite insightful. I hope that you've learned a thing or two when it comes to managing SACCOs and ensuring that you are sustainable in the long run. Hold your managers of the SACCO accountable. Ensure there's transparency. That's very important. That has been the discussion on solutions this morning. My name is Malaki Bila Odera. The show still continues. Take Note is up next.